The Samsung A33 is the Samsung's mid-range slash budget smartphone for 2022. I mean, this is the lower tier A series smartphone, but if you look at the price, this thing is considered to be a mid-range price here in Bangladesh. So I'm calling it a mid-range device. So in this video, we're going to make a review of this. So let's start. Before we start our video, let's give a quick shout out to our today's sponsor, Mars2. Mars2 is a group of smartphone shops located at the third floor of Satarkhan complex in Kumilla. No matter which smartphone you need, they have all of the brands covered. You can buy your desired smartphone from them at a fair price. Details about them are in the description below. So the Samsung Galaxy A33 comes with a pretty hefty price tag and it delivers most of it. So first, let's talk about the design and build quality of this thing. On the first look, if you look at the phone, you will fall in love with this. The minimalist design of Samsung is really great, and I really love how they have done with the design. Like, if you purchase any of the A series smartphone, they have the same kind of design language which speaks for them, and I really like this design. Now in this blue color, I don't know which color is this, I mean what they call this color, but I'm calling it blue. But I really like this color on this phone and it really looks gorgeous. So the overall look of the smartphone looks really gorgeous, except for the water drop notch on the top of the disc, which really looks ridiculous because this is 2022 and the price it comes with is not that cheap, so it should remove that notch this year, but they didn't. That's a negative point in terms of the design. Now in terms of build quality, this phone is entirely made of plastic. On the front we have the Gorilla Glass 5's protection, and on the back we have plastic black, but it has some matte texture on it which does help masking the fingerprints on the back, so that's a bonus thing. The overall build quality is good, and this phone feels sturdy and premium on hand. Though this thing packs up a 5000 mAh battery and a 5G SoC inside it, it still managed to be slimmer, sleeker and lightweight. It really feels good on hand, like it's really very lightweight. Now let's talk about the display. The display is Super AMOLED 1080p display with 90Hz support, and this is really very smooth, but unfortunately there is no adaptive refresh rate support, so it always stays at 90Hz no matter whatever you do, but you can switch back to standard 60Hz on the settings. In day-to-day experience, the display feels really smooth, and Samsung, they are very popular for their displays, so no complaints about the display, just the notch looks bad. This thing comes with a dual stereo speaker, and the speaker quality is really good. And if we look at the body, on the bottom we have a USB-C connector, the main speaker grill and a microphone. On the right side we have the volume rockers and the power button. The position of the volume rockers and the power button is slightly higher. I feel some kind of uncomfortable in there, but it's okay. On the top we have the secondary microphone and a SIM card slot, which is a dual hybrid slot. You can use either two SIMs or one SIM and a memory card to expand your storage. On the left side we have nothing. I really like the camera module. It looks very minimal and professional looking, so that's a good thing. Now let's talk about other serious stuffs in this thing. Under the hood, this thing packs up an exynos 1280, which is a 5G chipset, and it's a 5nm thread, so very efficient, but it still have those heating issues inside that. In day-to-day tasks, this thing really flows. The performance on the exynos 1280 is really great, and for the charging side, it supports 25 hours charger, but unfortunately there is no charger in the box, as you might expect. Samsung is doing that. Really very bad practice, so that's a demerit for Samsung. Now let's talk about the camera hardware. This thing has a 48 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor, a macro camera and a depth sensor. I guess rest two are useless, but we are focusing on the main sensor and the ultra wide sensor, and the pictures coming out of these phones is really great. I'm really loving the exynos image signal processors. Like, they are really great. I'm really impressed about the performance of this image signal processors. Like, earlier we had reviewed the A33 on my channel, you can see it over there, and in that case I also said that this thing really nails the image processing. Along with Samsung image processing software, I mean the algorithm that really nails the imaging capacity. So now let's take a look at some image samples and video samples coming out of this phone. So the image sample coming out of this A33 is really good. I really like the colors on this phone, and the dynamic range is good, and the OIS helps in taking stack sharp photos in almost every situation. It does also help in low light shots and nighttime shots. Now in terms of ultra wide camera, there is a slight color shift when you switch to the ultra wide camera, and you can also take zoomed in shot from the main sensor as a digital zoom, and the selfies coming out of this smartphone is also really good. The front and the rear camera both can handle 4K videos up to 30 fps, but you can shoot 4K videos when using the ultra wide camera, so that's a bummer. Now, as far as the camera features, both of the cameras can record 4K videos up to 30 fps and 1080p at 30 and 60 fps. The front camera can also do 4K, so that's a bonus feature. And I really like how the image and videos come out of this phone, and the colors are really great. I'll say that these colors are the best. I really like Samsung colors, and the image processing is awesome. So now let's move on to the battery. This thing packs up a 5000 mAh battery. I said it earlier, and this will easily run your day. And as far as the exynos 1280 is an efficient chipset, so that you should not have any problem using as a daily driver. Like in terms of performance, this is a 5G chipset, and it's a 5nm chipset, which I like about, and the cores are really stronger in this phone. And in terms of day-to-day performance, this thing really flows. There is no issue, no lag, and the cherry on top is the Samsung's One UI, which is really great. I have the 8GB RAM version here, so that might be different if you choose a lower RAM version, because in that case this may show some lag. I would recommend purchasing the 8GB variant of this phone. Now you can actually game on this phone, like the moderate game will run easily on this phone, but in case of heavy duty games this thing might fall apart, but you'll have the heating issue with that, bear in mind. We have done some benchmark testing and it scored decent in that. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of this phone. Like in this price segment, this phone is not enough, I guess, because we really didn't expected a water drop notch on a 2022 mid-range smartphone. This is really not acceptable from Samsung. So if I say about the pros, this thing is really very good performer, and the camera on this thing really nails everything on its way. Like the image processing, the colors on this phone, I really like the sharpness, and it has OIS on the main sensor, so that actually helps not in just videos but also in photos, especially in low light photos, so that's a bonus thing. And the Super AMOLED display on this thing is really amazing, and I would like to say the colors on this thing is really great. And this thing also features IP67 water and dust resistance, so that's a very bonus feature for this phone. Like no other companies right now offering this IP rating for this price segment, so if you are into that, this thing is a great option for you. Now another pro is that this thing is secured by Knox, so you get a top-notch security on this phone. This is expected to have 4 years of software update with an additional year of security update. So in terms of software and security, this thing is really great. Now the cameras are really very impressive, I already said earlier then. And now let's talk about the cons of this thing. Like look at this, where is the beloved headphone jack? Like Samsung has removed the headphone jack from its A series lineup. There is no headphone jack, so that's a very disappointment for me, because I really like to use the earphone jack instead of using any TWS or other stuff, so that's a bummer for me. If you talk about the other cons, this thing doesn't come with a charger in the box, so you have to pay extra to buy another charger for this phone, so that's a bummer. And if we talk about the build quality, I think there is some flaws in the build quality, like the edges are not that smooth and blended, so I'll cut a mark there. So that is it. What is my final verdict about this smartphone? Like this is a really very good option for this price segment. Like although I think the price is little higher, but what you will get with this smartphone, I think this is kind of justified for this price segment. I think this is the best option you can get, but I really don't like the notch on the top, so if that wasn't there, I would really recommend this thing. I mean, I'm recommending this thing, but I don't like that thing. But still, this is a good option, and you can obviously go for it. So this is highly recommended, and if you want to purchase it for a better price, you can visit Mars 2 from the link in the description below. See you soon with some new interesting videos. Till then, stay good, keep good, and keep doing incredible things. And yes, of course, keep watching Incredible Victor.